Nick, are you sure we're really here?
Good afternoon, good morning, everybody, and welcome to It's Not Your Mother's Wedding. We're your official 13-step program to sanity when dealing with the trials and tribulations and executing all your dreams and plans while providing some sort of reasonable effort in a wonderful wedding celebration. I'm your host, Bill Parkinson, along with...
This is Elise, and this is the most awkward we have ever been for a broadcast.
Yeah, today's pretty interesting over here. We've got producer extraordinaire Nick LaCicero. Nick, say hi to the world.
Hey guys, I think you guys shrunk a little bit since I last
Shrunk?
Yeah, shrinking isn't the word
can you
over
really
here.
even tell that I'm here?
Well, just to let everybody know what's really going on over here in our lives, we've been telling you about how they've been refabricating the studio, refurbishing the studio, rebuilding it while we're operating on WAMT over here 24/7. And we finally have our new furniture in. Parts of the furniture. Well, the tabletop is almost 4 feet high, and our chairs are about 2 feet high. So basically, I feel like Mikey from the cereal commercial right now.
I can barely reach the table, and being that I'm only 5 foot tall, it's like I feel like just the eyebrows are peeking over.
I haven't sat at a table like this since I was 6 years old. It's really bringing back all kind of really weird memories right now.
We get new chairs.
We do.
I mean, it makes you feel very insecure.
Oh, no, not at all. I think it's actually kind of fun over here. I get to look up to Nick right now and see exactly what he does do in the booth.
Our chairs didn't change, so we were still looking up to Nick.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, everybody, welcome to the show. We have got an outstanding show for you today. Do not turn that dial. I want you to write this down now. Mom's telephone number is 407-273-1190. That's 407-273-1190. If you're going to call in at any time, now's the time to do it because our guest today is not only a legend, or is actually becoming a legend in the wedding world, but one incredible storyteller. I've had the opportunity of meeting her and she and her husband in Atlanta, and she has offered to do our show today, and you're just going to absolutely fall in love with her. It's no other than Sylvia Weinstock, the Leonardo da Vinci of wedding cakes.
Queen of cakes.
She has been called New York's cake diva. She has been called the Cake Lady of Soho. She has been called everything, including outstanding.
Well, let's not
she's
say
with us
everything.
Today.
That's that kind of opens.
Well, I mean everything good, and I have to admit to you, I thought she was fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we bring her on the air, let's go ahead and talk about a few things. How'd your week go this week, Elise?
I'm doing better. I'm moving a little better. Got my car in. I hope to have my car back on Monday or Tuesday. Got my grades in. That's probably the biggest. Obviously, I've now come up for air. I did get my grades done. And I'd like to, while we're on that subject, congratulate all the graduating seniors from the University of Central Florida, and particularly the Rosen College of Hospitality Management. They're graduating.
So if you're looking for something to do in events and the wedding business, give us a call, and we'll fix you up with an internship.
No, but these students that have now completed, we've got our first graduates in the event management program. Mm-hmm. So they've got a bachelor's with a major in event management.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tell us, what's coming up as far as wedding shows go?
Wedding shows, obviously, our next big show is going to be Joe Andrada's Planet Expo show on June 10th. Mm-hmm. And you're going to ask, that's at Florida Hotel.
Yes. Great facility, love the people. We're going to work very closely with them on that show. What date is the show again?
June 10th.
June 10th. I do know that Mike Eichmeyer, the conference director for the Florida Hotel and Conference Center, is looking to make this one of the greatest shows in Orlando ever, which is kind of tough to beat over here because the following show that's really big is the Your Wedding TV show.
That's Sunday, July 29th at the Wyndham Orlando Resort on I-Drive and Sand Lake Road, and I really look forward to being there for that one. I missed the last one. I usually try and get to most of them.
Oh, it was nothing short of outstanding. Karen Lee did a fantastic job. Keith Lamont and the whole crew with Your Wedding TV. Definitely one of probably the funnest show in Orlando.
And that show will be followed by the Wedding Professionals of Central Florida show on Sunday, August 12th. We're going to go move downtown and get away from the attractions, and we'll be at the Embassy Suites down on Pine Street, which will be a Sunday. Free parking on the street. Should be a great show. Maybe a little different, maybe a little different tune. We're not trying to outdo or fight with Perfect Wedding Guide or Orlando Wedding TV.
No, actually, no. It's going to be very different.
It's going to have a little different flavor. I'm teamed with Lavoria Buckley from Moments and Memories,
who's been on our show and co-hosted frequently.
And
yes.
So we've got that cooking. So we're looking forward to that over the summer.
This is located at the New Embassy Suites right across from Lake Eola, downtown, right behind the Disney Amphitheater. Almost behind it. It's
not
across
exactly.
the street. It's about a block down.
Near Pine, and there is right in the middle of the Bank District, really, is where it's at. So it should be a great day there, and we are having a groom's lounge. So I
was going to say, definitely a show for the guys to be at, because we're going to have something
really
to do with
emphasis, yes, on the grooms and their needs, not just the bride. So a lot more focused on the couples and planning, and some tips and information, because we have a lot of shows that do a lot of wow. This one will be focused a lot on, if you're looking for ideas and information, that will
Let's
be the
talk
show.
a little bit about the fashion show, because you're going to do something very different with the fashion show, aren't you?
I don't have all the details, because that's Lavoria's area of expertise.
Well, I heard what she said. I want to see
I hope that I say the same thing.
If not, I'll help you out.
One of the things we are looking to do, that instead of just having beautiful women out there wearing a gown that we know nothing about, is to really do some pros and cons and what fashion styles should fit different figure types, and maybe learn about the different fabrics and the colors and how things work together, and what type of tuxedo the guy should wear, depending on the formality and the time of day. So the fashion show will be a little more informational. That we will talk about body styles and fabrics.
Would it be great to do a contrast,
styles.
Show what you should wear and what you should not wear, and
that's
emphasize
where
why?
We're hoping to
or
go.
Is that really taking it to the edge a little bit?
We
really
actually have discussed that, and again, we'll see how all the little pieces come together.
I don't think that would be a negative. I mean, some people obviously would burst their bubble a little bit on that.
But we are hoping to do
honestly,
something like that.
That would really help people out and enlighten them.
It won't just be the runway show. It will
Yeah.
be more, why is this, what's good about this fabric, what's bad? Believe it or not, one of the things I've learned in working with Brides Against Breast Cancer is that many of our wedding gowns are washable. I would never have dreamed of throwing a wedding gown in the washing machine until I've been working with Barb Raskin, who says, yeah, I take them home, have everybody wash 5 gowns, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But most of the fabrics, and again, you have to get to know the fabrics and what ones work and what ones don't, many of them are actually machine washable.
Go figure. Now, my friend Andrea, the one that bought the really
Getting
nice
married
gown.
today, right?
No, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Linda's helping out.
Yes, my friend Linda Appleton,
That's right.
ABC consultant from upstate New York.
And she's very excited.
She's terrific, and she's a part-time Florida resident and a part-time upstate New York resident. And when she's down here, we always get her involved in the association activities, and she's very active and has worked a couple of apprenticeships, and she's going to actually coordinate that wedding for your
When
friend.
it's all said and done, I may bring Andrea and Christian on the show because they're doing something unique. Obviously, they're non-traditional bride and grooms. They're doing it very small. They're getting married in a church, and they're actually having a very, very intimate reception. Very, very select group of people in their home. And I'll tell you something, they're converting their home into an Italian bistro.
That sounds great.
Small little cocktail tables, the pool will be lit, wine, nice music. It's not an elaborate wedding reception, but the way that they're doing it, since they obviously met in Italy and everything, they're going to give the feel that you're in a little Italian bistro.
That sounds great.
Isn't it
That
going to be
sounds
nice?
great. I know Linda's really excited about doing some of the decor, so.
Okay, we're going to go to a quick little, we're going to bring on our guest right now, and then we're going to go to commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen, all I can say it is my pleasure to bring this individual onto the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Sylvia Weinstock. Sylvia, you with us?
Yes, I am.
Welcome
Good
to It's
morning.
Not Your Mother's Wedding. How are you doing today?
Well, you're right. It's not the mother's wedding. And I wish the mothers could remember that.
Really? Well, something we're going to talk about along with your cakes is you truly have a fantastic philosophy on weddings in general. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that first. But I wanted to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and tell everybody briefly what you do. Then we're going to go to a quick little commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to just let the Central Florida area learn all about the wonderful person I had lunch with and had an opportunity to spend time with in Atlanta.
Well, I'll introduce myself as Sylvia Weinstock, who has been in the wedding cake and special cakes for celebrations for about 30 years. I'm based here in New York City, but we do travel and ship all over the world. And we have a wonderful clientele. We get to know everybody and know their needs and thoughts and feelings. And after your station break, I can give you more details.
That sounds great. Don't forget, Mom's telephone line's open. Our number's 407-273-1190. Or instant message us at yourweddinghelper@gmail.com. Yahoo IM, AOL IM, any kind of IM you have. We're here for questions regarding anything that we're talking about or our guest, Sylvia Weinstock. We'll be right back after these messages.
Watch Orlando Wedding TV Tuesdays and Fridays at 6 p.m. on Bright House Channel 21 or streaming at orlandoweddingtv.com. A different show every week provides useful information, ideas, and tips to help you plan the wedding you've dreamed of. Live runway fashion show segments, featured interviews, and real Central Florida weddings. A wedding TV show designed just for you. Orlando Wedding TV, the bride's TV connection. Find out more at orlandoweddingtv.com.
Are you a busy Central Florida couple trying to plan your wedding on a limited budget? Attention to Details Weddings and Events works with do-it-yourself couples by providing a complimentary consultation to help you get started and just the right amount of help to keep you on track throughout your planning process. Then, your wedding coordinator will help you organize and implement your wedding plan so that you and your family can enjoy your wedding celebration. Visit their website at attn2details.com. or call Elise at 407-977-9338. That's 407-977-9338. And let them take care of your wedding details.
Hi, this is Bill from It's Not Your Mother's Wedding, and we want to know what you'd like to hear on our show. So email us at myweddinghelper@gmail.com or send an instant message live during our show at myweddinghelper from AOL, MSN, Yahoo, and Google. And don't forget, it's not your mother's wedding. Only on Talk Radio, AM 1190, WAMT.
Congratulations on your upcoming ceremony. Christopher Chaston Photography here. I've been capturing special events worldwide for about 25 years. For more information, give us a ring at 407-924-8615. That's 407-924-8615 for Christopher Chaston Photography.
Dig me. Because I rarely wear underwear, and when I do, it's usually something unusual.
Elise and Love.
Please let me go. I can't stand it anymore.
It's Not Your Mother's Wedding.
We play too much.
Whatever that was, Nick. But hey, it's Cinco de Mayo, and you're listening to It's Not Your Mother's Wedding, the cornerstone of Western civilization for all brides and grooms dealing with the wedding zone. I'm your host, Bill Parkinson, along with
Elise Enlow, who can barely make it to the countertop.
Yeah, we're over here in our new studio. We like it. We love it. We want some more of it. But you know what? We're not going to go into anything about us because we have just an outstanding individual on our show today. And once again, Sylvia, are you still with us there?
Yes, indeed.
Great.
Well, Sylvia, I had the opportunity. I think it's been, it's going to show some age on both of us, a couple years since we had the special event here in Orlando. And I believe you were the guest speaker at the wedding luncheon.
I was indeed.
And had some of your cake at that opportunity.
Let's talk about the cake first before we go into anything.
Please, I haven't had breakfast yet.
The greatest thing that struck me about Sylvia's cake, it wasn't too sweet, and the flavor was unbelievable.
And Sylvia, while we've got you on that note, I'd like to give you an opportunity to give a plug for your book.
Well, we have a new book coming out soon, and we're working on it. It's going to be a grand book. It's probably going to be the final word on celebratory cakes. You know, once we start with a wedding, we then have frequently the christening or the communion or the bar mitzvah and then the engagement, and we have the next generation with showers and weddings again. And so when you're in business long enough, that family becomes your family. And you get to know them. You get to know what they like, what their style is, and their food allergies, if they have them. And you design a cake around their needs.
That's fantastic. Now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have Sylvia Weinstock, the Leonardo da Vinci of wedding cakes here in the United States and possibly the whole world. I know a lot of people probably take a lot of pride in serving all their clients, as I'm sure you do, Sylvia, but I want to go ahead and let our listeners know some of the people that you've actually made cakes for. Is that all right?
Well, in a way it is, because we really don't trade in on celebrities. Anybody that walks in that door is the princess of the day, certainly to her parents. So whether it's Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones, or whether it was Mariah Carey or Ben Stiller or, the Kennedys, it doesn't matter. Everybody is very important that day.
What I was going to bring up with this, again, with some of the people that you mentioned, Liam Neeson's in here, Cyndi Lauper, Charlie Sheen, Alec Baldwin, Kim Basinger, Eddie Murphy, Jane Fonda, Bobby Brown, and Whitney Houston.
You're naming a lot of people that are having marital problems. I would like to sit down and help them out on that one.
Well, Sylvia, then I guess we can't say that having a Sylvia Weinstock cake lowers the divorce rate.
No, it's not the glue in a marriage. The glue really comes between the two people, and that's what I really like to talk about, is that it's not just the wedding and the gown and the party. It is a marriage.
I love you.
And where do we go from there?
It's a 24-hour celebration, but you've got a lifetime afterwards.
Right, and in the conversation of celebration, you get to see who these people, the participants are, whether it is the mother's wedding. Darling, you can have anything you want, but who wants chocolate? Or you get the in-laws who are paying for the wedding, and the bride is afraid to say that she really doesn't like what the mother-in-law is picking out for her. So, you see lots of angst, you see joy, you see happiness, you see cooperation. All of that comes to the table when we're just talking about a cake.
Well, when I rattled off those people in there, I was trying to think that many of them have very distinct personalities, just like many brides do, especially on their wedding day. And a lot of your creations, not only is it a delicious cake, but it is a piece of art.
It's art.
It really is. So it's this very, very personal, reflective part of a wedding that can be expressed. Donald Trump had a big expression with his wedding. I understand that he did, because it was at the...
Well, everybody has something, because, when his son got married, they wanted color. When another bride gets married, she wants it all white and pure. And then sometimes there are details. Maybe there is a china pattern this youngster likes. We'll duplicate that on a cake. Or it is the lace on her veil that is an heirloom. We had one client whose veil had been worn for 7 generations. And all of these veils this veil was particularly beautiful. We duplicated the lacework on it. So, sometimes it's something that mother had or grandmother had that means something, and we try very hard to incorporate something like that, because weddings are sentimental, and cakes are.
Now, Sylvia, one of the things that I remember from your previous opportunity, that you ship everywhere. We think cakes as being so fragile, and yet your cakes go all around the world.
Yes, they do. Isn't that wonderful? Of course, we pray a lot, but that helps. And we have very good people handling it. If it's a big cake and it's going to, say, Sardinia or Italy or France or Japan or Mexico, somebody goes with it.
I was just going to say, what do you do? I would just think customs, insurance, so many things go into boxing up that cake. I would just love to see one of the... besides the amazing part of your cakes, I would love to see how you actually ship those. I think that's just incredible to me.
Well, we ship them carefully. Sometimes it's in a private plane, but not everybody has a private plane, so it goes commercially into cargo, and it's hand-carried on, hand-carried off, and with the luck of good people that handle it, like Continental, which is our courier of choice, they are wonderful. And we have shipped to Orlando and spots in Florida. We've gone to every major city that Continental will fly.
Now, let me ask you something. Let's go ahead and let's look at the celebration of the cake and some of your favorite designs that you've incorporated. What are maybe some of the greatest themes, or maybe the greatest creation you've had where a customer just came up and said, Sylvia, I just love what you do. Do something for me.
Well, then you have to sit down and talk to that client. That client has to tell you more about themselves. so you know what their taste level is like, whether they want something Art Deco, or the space that the event is in, or the season that is in. Mm-hmm. Is it an outdoor garden? Is it an indoor white tie event? Give me some hints. And then, of course, you want to be able to size up your client and find out what kind of clothes do they like? Do they like very tailored clothes? Do they like very extravagant clothes? What's the feeling, the theme? But, I have a real issue about wedding cake. I want that cake to be served as part of your dinner. I think when you sit down for your main course, before you have a captive audience, that's a great time for the bride and groom to enter the center of the room, toast their guests for coming, take a slice, just cut into it, and have the cake removed to the kitchen, and it is plated while you dine on your chicken or lobster or steak, and the cake comes out after the main course. It is part of the dinner. It is your dessert. It's not an afterthought, and for goodness sakes, don't serve it at 1 in the morning. I've gone home by then.
Now, you mentioned something about allergies before and dietary restrictions considerations
Absolutely.
Going into the cake. When you and I spoke in Atlanta, you were talking about how you actually go out and purchase all of your ingredients fresh. You're very particular about the types of chocolate you put in there or whatever type of colors are going in. Can you tell us a little bit about how you shop for your ingredients?
Well, first of all, if you do
research, first of all, I want to congratulate you. Let's put in a few moments of came around.
It was a midlife change of career. Started out as a school teacher, suburbanite with 3 little girls, and worked my way up to a ski family.
There we go, yeah.
And they all skied up at Hunter Mountain in New York State, and I don't ski. I got on that mountain, I looked down, and said, oh, not for me. Went back to cook and bake, and it seems, as you all know, the girls are always on a diet, and they just couldn't eat the enormous amount of stuff that I was baking because I was playing house. I had a wonderful time at it. I started to sell to the local restaurants up there, and that was the beginning of a business.
Well, I read that you met George Keller and Donald Bruce White were also integral parts of your development into being the cake lady of Soho, or the Leonardo da Vinci of the wedding world, the wedding cakes. How about the little girl? And I read this great story, and this really caught me by surprise. You actually provided a wedding cake, and a little girl tasted it, and as she grew up, she kept on saying that she wanted a Sylvia Weinstock cake, and when it came time for her wedding, she got one.
Yes, isn't that wonderful?
They didn't give the name, but I thought, wow, so many girls dream about the type of wedding gown they're going to wear, their honeymoon. This girl,
I hope my daughter's not listening
tasted
today.
Sylvia's cake, and that was her goal, was to have this cake at her wedding.
Well, cake is food, and we use a buttercream icing only. I want you to eat the very best thing. I will not serve you something that I wouldn't eat myself. And talking about wedding gowns and such, there are some girls that, number one, have bought a wedding gown without a groom in sight.
My daughter has already done that,
My
Sylvia.
sister-in-law.
Really? So there you are. And we have mothers who have collected pictures of wedding cakes through the years, and they come in with a 4-inch folder
of cakes
that they've collected, waiting for that blessed day when their daughter is ready to marry.
Yeah, we haven't made it to cake, but she did. She bought the dress last year before she had the guy, and we're working on that right now. But
well, I can provide the cake, but I can't provide the groom. You have to do your own shopping on that one.
That there's a really smart philosophy to that when brides or young women, because they're dreaming about their weddings from the time they're 5, and if you find the right dress, I mean, that way, if things don't work out, you've still got that dress that you know is you. You don't have to get rid of it. And the reason we say that is because both Bill and I are involved very heavily here with Brides Against Breast Cancer and that charity.
I'm one of the survivors.
Well,
God bless, wonderful.
Get you out there.
1980.
Well, congratulations. We need to get you down as one of the Making Memory sponsors.
Yeah, 3 weeks ago, we raised $30,000.
That's fabulous.
Here in Orlando for Making Memories.
And then
I'm very busy telling everybody about breast cancer, self-examination. You are your own doctor. You know your body. You have to pursue it if you don't like the answers you get.
Mm-hmm.
And every woman at any age, from the age of 20 up even, there are youngsters who have breast cancer.
And it's also for men. A lot of men think
men
they're
have,
immune.
Yes, I think there's a small percentage, but men do get breast cancer. I knew of one.
Yes.
But I think, life goes on. You pick the joys you enjoy every day. And a wedding is a very important thing. It brings two families together to start a third. And I think everyone should take part in that and enjoy every moment of it. And in terms of the wedding gown that's in the closet without the groom, most women will always remember what they didn't get. They will forget what they do have.
True.
Now, when it comes to, let's say, groom's cakes and the groom's participation in the wedding, you do anything special to make the man feel like he's a little involved in it?
Well, first of all, they certainly are. We get a number of men that come with the bride for the tasting, and they say this is the best part of the whole deal.
Absolutely.
Well, they come and they get a platter full of 15 different kinds of fillings, 10 different kinds of cakes. They taste everything, and they make your own ice cream sundae. They decide the flavors that they like and what they want. And when they're here, we sketch designs with them in mind. And they can mull it over. There's no pressure on it. They have to think about how this whole event comes together. Sometimes if it's an 09 wedding and this is 07, there are lots of changes. I hope not the bride and groom. But there might be changes in the site of the wedding, the decor, the number of guests. All these things play into a cake design.
Now, let me get this right. You serve them a platter of fillings, and they build their own cake right there?
Well, they tell me that they like the key lime coconut and blood orange, and they'd like to put it on the Lady Baltimore cake.
Very
Or they
nice.
taste the hazelnut, mocha, espresso, and chocolate mousse and decide to put that on a chocolate cake.
Oh, God, that sounds like something I'd go for. Oh, does that sound fantastic?
Well, come and visit.
Well, you know what? I don't know. I see Elise packing everything up. You're talking about all these fillings. I think she's going to catch the first flight up to Manhattan.
Well, come on. It's a glorious day up here now, too. And the shop is in Tribeca, and we have She's Unique. She's now the cakes that go with each of the four.
Really,
it is a bargain. You don't have to spend $1 million for a wedding.
Now, let's look at trends right now. What are we leaning toward? Are we getting out of wanting all of our cakes to look like they're covered with fondant and moving into things that are totally edible? Are we looking for more people using gum paste, roses and flowers and ribbons? Or do we find just good old-fashioned icing artwork and lacing and things like that happening? What do you foresee as the new trend now coming up in the latter part of this decade?
Well, number one, I want people to understand that a cake is food, so they should look for the finest quality that they can get. And that's why we don't use fondant. We use buttercream. It's an Italian meringue with the best butter you can get. And that's it. It's very clean. We give out the recipe, and it's delicious. It melts in your mouth, and that's what we want. Also, we do use sugar dough flowers. We're very good at that. They're botanically correct. They decorate the cake. They can be taken off a cake and saved, kept dry and clean. They'll stay forever. But they make a cake look wonderful. We never, ever use fresh flowers. Most of them are sprayed with insecticides, and we just don't want the poisons leaching into the cake that you eat.
Thank you. I've been wondering if every time I see these cakes and the florists come in and they just throw things in there, and I'm like, isn't there going to be like stuff dripping out of those stems? Many of them do not put them in the little, posts or whatever, which I carry in my emergency kit, but many of the florists do not. And the cake people don't use them, and that's always irritated me.
I don't think they understand the science of food, and there is a science, food handling, etc. But you realize, I used to be a kindergarten teacher, and if you took some wild white flour and put it in a bowl with colored water, the next day that flour would have that color.
We went to the same kindergarten.
So it leached up into it. Now that's what happens when you put a flower that has been sprayed. And all flowers in the hothouses and gardens and imported flowers from South America, etc., they're all sprayed with insecticides and inspected by the government, agriculture, so they don't have bugs and mites and things that would poison other foods.
All of your cakes are 100% edible. Every bit about it. I read about the Ming vase and the bamboo.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
I was up at 3 a.m. grading papers this week for my event class, and I'm Sylvia, and I apologize, I can't tell you what the name of the event was, but it was in Texas, and it was the cake decorating competition.
Yes.
Whatever you see at 3 a.m. I was amazed how many people even entered this very high-class competition, and they put things like real rhinestones in the cakes, and that was actually
you want to crack a
points
tooth
off.
and get sued.
Yeah, it was like, okay, that was out because they wanted everything totally edible, and they said they could not imagine that world-class cake people still were putting things with wires, and I was just, it was very educational, and actually did keep me awake in grading those papers at 3 a.m., but I learned a lot on some of the things I don't think about. And I was just surprised how many non-edible things there are in the cakes.
Well, some cakes are absolutely beautiful to look at, and there are truly some very fine artists out there. But you have to remember, it is either it's a dummy show cake or it's food. And when they start to use what's a gold dust is really not gold, we use 24-karat gold leaf. Mm-hmm. That is you can use, or sterling silver leaf. That you can use. It's non-toxic, and it passes through the body. But there is an aluminum powder that is colored gold or silver, which is really should be taken off the market by the FDA. And they use that to make it highly decorative.
For that gloss or that metallic sheen.
That's right. Now, that's if you want a show cake, that's wonderful. And I'm all for that, too. But don't call it food.
Sylvia,
how are you? It's George Perez with Waterford Crystal, and I had to call in because my dearest friend Sylvia was on. Though, as I keep hearing you guys, all I keep thinking is how hungry I am, and I want to run out and get a Sylvia Weinstock cake right now. Sylvia, can you send me one?
Sure, come around the corner. And I'll meet you in the middle of the street.
How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. And Waterford is such a wonderful thing. When we met together, I took some of my sugar flowers and put it in the Waterford vase. And that's what a bride can do. She can save the sugar flowers, get a Waterford vase, and put it in and keep it forever.
And let me tell you, Bill, you were there. Those things were absolutely gorgeous. I'm staring at them and staring at them, swearing that those things were real. Just amazing the art that you do, Sylvia. But I'm really depressed because I'm sitting here waiting for my ticket to Bahamas with you and Preston. I'm all ready. I'm packed. All my Louis Vuitton is there, and I'm just sitting here waiting.
Well, I hope you come with some vases for me. I seem to remember a promise so that I can have one in my office. I'll fill it with sugar flowers, and I'll look at it and think of in terms of a beautiful gown.
And it's so amazing to us, and we certainly don't...
And sounds like Sylvia's going out of the country here a little bit, and they go to these conferences and these showcases and actually speak on behalf of their products and represent their products. And
it's not just the products, but they really represent
the industry.
The industry itself.
It's really important.
It's such a crossover.
Yes.
I'm going to be in Palm Springs talking to a floral industry, and then I'm going to be in Houston, unfortunately in July when it's nice and warm, but I'll be there talking to the catering industry. It's a crossover.
When are you coming to Orlando?
When you invite me.
I might have to do that. We have the Association of Bridal Consultants International Conference here in November.
Ooh.
Well, send me an invitation, and we'll be very happy. I'll be happy to come and address the organization.
On that.
Well, November's a nice time to come to Orlando,
let me put the bug in Eileen's ear.
Oh, that sounds really good. Really good. All right, George, thank you very much for your call. We'll talk to you real soon, okay, my friend?
Thank you guys so much. Great to talk to you, Sylvia.
Thank you for phoning in.
Always a pleasure.
See you in the Bahamas.
All right, bye, you guys.
Bye. Surprise, surprise, surprise. He's doing our show in a couple of weeks, and when he found out you were on, he says, I got to call Sylvia.
He's very talented, and he has a great eye for table settings and for Waterford Crystal.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we're going to have George Perez on June 2nd.
It's going to be hard to see these cakes and see the crystal through the radio.
Absolutely.
We have to work on that, Bill.
Well, that's when we become a TV show then. Okay, back to Sylvia. Sylvia, I cannot get over how you actually made a cake to replicate the Duomo in Florence, Italy.
Isn't that something? My wonderful husband sat down with pictures of the Duomo and drew something to scale so we could have the multiple levels, almost like an architectural plan of building. Mm-hmm. And then we pre-cut the wood structure, and we baked the individual cakes, trimmed them, put them together, iced them. It was really quite a fit. But we've also done very large things. We have a cake going out today for a 13-year-old boy, and it's multiple balls, football football, baseball, soccer, basketball, tennis, and they're all these are big ones. They're like 14, 16, 18-inch sizes, all mounded together. It's like a whole structure.
Can you do a cake with the Boston Red Sox logo on it?
We could do anything.
The reason why I'm saying that is you're talking about all these sports balls over here, and my producer is a big-time Red Sox fan. And when you mentioned baseball, he got this big old grin on his face, and I know exactly what he was thinking over here.
Yeah,
we could do that, and then we could have a banner with the Red Sox coming off the ball. We once sent a big golf bag on a private plane to Little Rock, Arkansas, for a man's birthday, his 80th birthday. It was just grand.
So the golf bag itself
of
was
champagne. I mean, it's the wedding industry spills off into every kind of celebration.
Absolutely, it does.
And really, my thought on that is weddings are one of the few life celebrations, the major life. I mean, it is a life transition, but it's also one of the few that you really control the planning and the date. You know, you can only guesstimate the birth of your child and you know, birthdays and other life things that happen. Maybe quinceañeras, sweet 16s, but there aren't a whole lot of major life events you can control, like a wedding.
Why don't we hold that thought for just a second, because we have to go to our second break for the show. When we come back, let's touch base on that, because Sylvia does have a very interesting philosophy about how to plan your events and your weddings. I wanted to give her a chance to talk about that, because I agree with it 100%. And also, when we come out of break, we're going to have a few new words from Anna Pizak from Brides.com. Sylvia, can you hold on a few moments?
Certainly.
We'll be back after this, and don't forget, you're listening to It's Not Your Mother's Wedding.
Watch Orlando Print Show every week provides useful information, ideas, and tips to help you plan the wedding you've dreamed of. Live runway fashion show segments, featured interviews, and real Central Florida weddings. A wedding TV show designed just for you. Orlando Wedding TV, the Bride's TV connection. Find out more at orlandoweddingtv.com.
Hi, this is Bill from It's Not Your Mother's Wedding, and we want to know what you'd like to hear on our show. So email us at myweddinghelper@gmail.com or send an instant message live during our show at myweddinghelper from AOL, MSN, Yahoo, and Google. And don't forget, it's not your mother's wedding. Only on Talk Radio, AM 1190, WAMT.
It's Not Your Mother's Wedding returns in a moment.
More!
In the meantime, we have open lines, so give us a call. 407-273-1190.
I'm Anna Pizak, Senior Editor at Brides.com in New York City. You reduce, reuse, and recycle on a daily basis, and your big day is no excuse to let your eco-friendly lifestyle fall by the wayside. In fact, you can incorporate your good green habits into virtually every aspect of the planning, from the flowers, food, and favors to your wedding dress. To do your part preserving the planet, start by printing invitations on recycled or tree-free paper like hemp or bamboo using soy-based ink, and turn to the internet for getting the word out on wedding details like directions, hotels, and other weekend events. You can create your very own wedding website right on Brides.com. One of the easiest ways to save electricity is by celebrating your nuptials by day, and if possible, outdoors. State parks and nature reserves, which support eco-friendly causes, and even your own backyard are all great options. If you've always dreamt of saying I do after dusk, invest in solar lanterns which charge in the sun during the day. Or create an even more romantic atmosphere with candlelight. Just be sure to stock up on soy candles as they burn cleaner and longer than wax versions. In lieu of rice, which can be dangerous for birds, have guests toss wildflower seeds or flower petals or even blow bubbles. At the reception, skip the traditional place cards and handwrite guests' names on leaves, fresh fruit, or pieces of terracotta. Cut down on emissions by providing shuttle service for your guests between hotels and ceremony and reception sites. Or hold your reception and your ceremony at the same venue. Depending on where you're celebrating your big day, you can get creative with a horse-drawn carriage, and locale and weather permitting, a horse-drawn sleigh. And for your grand entrance or exit, consider the latest hybrid car or limo. Dress the part for your eco-chic affair with a vintage gown and antique jewelry. Other options, shop for a dress made from a natural fiber like hemp satin. If you're not completely sold on either of these ideas, consider a simple white cocktail or slip dress. It's a look you can wear again and again. To go green with your decor, embellish with local and seasonal flowers that are organically grown without chemical pesticides. Swap traditional floral centerpieces with oxygen-producing potted plants and fill vases with organic fruits and vegetables. You can also recycle your bouquets by arranging them as centerpieces for the reception tables. Speak to your caterer about serving dishes made with ingredients that are locally and organically grown, as well as in season. And not only are varieties of organic wines on the rise, but an increasing number of bakeries are whipping up cakes made with more organic ingredients and less additives and artificial sweeteners. You can even get eco-conscious about the cake decoration. Roses that are organically grown are beautiful and edible. And finally, share your eco-friendly ways with your guests by sending them off with a small potted plant or fruit from a local orchard. Soy candles or soap, and potpourri made from naturally fragrant organic roses or other great green gifts your guests will love. I'm Anna Pizik from Brides.com.
It's not your mother's wedding. Heading out of Orlando or just passing through? Listen online every Saturday morning, streaming live at 1190WAMT.com.
Can you repeat the part of the stuff where you said all about the things?
Streaming live at 1190WAMT.com.
And we're back to It's Not Your Mother's Wedding, where Elise and I just skip happily through a meadow and a small little trail of flowers, puppy dogs, and rainbows, and let you know that regardless what you do, that your wedding is going to be perfect. Well, that's really not the case. This is It's Not Your Mother's Wedding, and we're here to make sure you realize that.
This is reality wedding.
This is reality talk radio, and we have reality-wise the queen of wedding cake, Sylvia Weinstock. Say hello again, Sylvia.
Hello, I'm here.
We actually got a telephone call in during the break, and unfortunately, we had this situation with brides. I don't know if you run into it where you're at. Brides don't like to call in on the radio for fear that people are going to think they don't know what they want. Now, many of us in the wedding business know that all brides know what they want. It just takes a matter of pulling it out of them to get it right. But this bride really had a question for us that maybe you could help out. How about people with allergies? Are there specific types of flour or certain ingredients that we could go ahead and accommodate or change to help people that do have allergies, whether it's a dairy product problem, maybe they don't like chocolate, maybe they can't have chocolate and you have to go to caramel. How do you work with all that?
Well, we work with it, but you have to remember you might have 2 out of 200 with an allergy, and you're still the hostess to the 198 people. Mm-hmm. So we try very hard to satisfy with one of the layers to be no nuts, no chocolate, an artificial sugar if we have to, no wheat. We could use rice flour. Do you know what I mean? There are all kinds of allergies, and we do ask about allergies. We also do kosher cakes. So there are what we call PAV, meaning no dairy. So we try very hard to work with the best no dairy products on the market. Lots of fresh fruit, lots of very good cocoa butter chocolates so that you don't have that artificial taste.
Okay, well, great. I hope that answers our bride's question that called in over there. And, yeah, it would be a nice idea to go ahead and have that top tier made, or maybe another tier made just for you and your future husband so you could enjoy your cake and then have something for everything else. What?
About saving that top layer, Sylvia.
Ooh, how do you recommend that brides and grooms save that top layer?
Well, I recommend that there are 2 ways. First, if they want to keep the flowers, take the sugar flowers out, dry them off, and keep them under a glass dome so that they clean and dust-free and won't melt from the sun. Keep them away from the sun so they don't fade. But you can have them in a little vitrine or on a coffee table. Then wrap the cake in saran wrap and put it in a plastic bag so it doesn't get freezer burn. Now, you could do the whole top with the flowers and wrap it that way, and take it out in the refrigerator, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and the next day take off the wrappings and bring it to room temperature.
Wow, well, thank you very much.
That's 2 ways to do it. The other thing I wanted to tell you is I think brides have to learn to let go and not sweat the small things. They get anal. They get worried about details. I can have 10 emails from a bride asking minute questions without trusting the professional. And she is so nervous that there is no fun in this.
That's true.
Sylvia, have you ever considered just writing a wedding philosophy book like Weddings According to Sylvia?
Well, we'll have something. At one point, I'd love to do that because I'd like to give examples of mothers and daughters who do well together, mothers and daughters that do not do well together and what to avoid, where you have the bride stamping out saying, well, this is not your wedding, or the mother who says, I'm paying for it. So, you have that. Then you have the people that are so fixated on showing off and competitive that it has to be better than the neighbor's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that pretty much cheapens the actual celebration of the unity of the two individuals. I think it really takes away from the actual wedding experience. When we had a bride, we do a lot of wedding shows, Elise and I, and we actually do pre-show. So we're out there with the media tables, welcoming brides and grooms into the wedding show. And you always hear brides and grooms say, well, we don't want to spend a lot of money, but we want people to think we did. We want people to think that this is a really big thing, and they'll never forget this party. And I'm like, well, what about you? Are you going to spend all this time going table to table and, oh, look how glamorous this is? Or are you going to enjoy your celebration and love all the people that you brought and love each other and dance and just make a great memory?
The flip side of that is we have clients that say, I don't want people walking in saying, wow, this must have cost a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a very fine line to satisfy the families where it is in good taste. I don't want to use the word elegant and simple again because we're tired of that.
Yeah.
Let's say it's in very good taste. It reflects the personality of the people involved, and that people walk away saying, it was just a lovely event.
Well, Sylvia, we're running out of time. I want to thank you very much for coming on our show. You have no idea how honored we are to have someone like you here, and I'd love to have you back again sometime.
We shall do that, and I'd love to go to Orlando.
Well, we'd love to have you come on down. Once again, everybody, Sweet Celebrations, The Art of Decorating Beautiful Cakes, Simon & Schuster by Sylvia Weinstock, and the name of your new book is, Sylvia?
We haven't decided yet.
You haven't decided?
But it's going to be fantastic, beautiful, large tabletop book.
Well, I think it should be called Bill Says Sylvia's Cakes Are Yummy. Buy this book now and one for your mother.
Thank you.
All right. Sylvia Weinstock, thank you so much, and we're looking forward to having you here again on It's Not Your Mother's Wedding.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, have a good weekend.
You too, dear. And now time for a little bit of wedding news. We only have a few minutes left, but this is important. At least you're going to love this. Fireman's Fund Insurance, first to offer change of heart coverage for weddings and private events. So that means if you get cold feet and run away, you can actually recoup some of your investments. It is being offered by the RV Nucio and Associates Company, which has been around for, years and years and years. Okay. Okay, well, I've got some information over here on that. We're getting closer to, come on, I just had Sylvia Weinstock on the show, so I'm not really...
I want to share, have you heard that Target is going to start selling wedding dresses?
You're kidding me.
No, they went on sale today, online only. I think about $160. Not a whole lot of options, but they do come in white, ivory, and black. And that's the newest thing for Target.
Well, I actually found a piece over here on. See, now I'm all discombobulated because I was going.
You've got paper all over.
I've got paper all over the place, but they actually found out the average bride spends about $1,350 on a wedding gown. In Long Island is where New Jersey is where the brides spend the most at about $3,000 a wedding gown.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, well, I always thought it would be about $2,000-$3,000 actually, but no. The Knot actually did a survey for the Northeast, and they found out the simplest weddings, the most casual weddings, are from South Carolina, and the most black tie events, not California, not New York, but New Jersey again.
Well, that's because everybody from New York goes to New Jersey.
Well, that's the reason why.
A friend of mine, Tony DeLisi, is up there doing the weddings, and and we chat quite a bit about our similarities and differences.
I want to cover this insurance again one more time, not to just drop this and go back, but I want to tell you what it is. Once again, it's Fireman's Fund Insurance. They're offering change of heart coverage. Now, the neat thing about this is that the basic policy starts at about $95, and you don't have to buy it complete up front. As your wedding develops, you can add more coverage. It will go ahead and cover things like if your videographer or your photographer have broken equipment and they can't go ahead and provide you with wedding services, your DJ doesn't show up. It also covers weather.
Yes.
And other natural acts of God, too.
We've got actually a new company here in Florida that's doing wedding insurance, and I think we'll try and get them on the show coming up.
I think we should go ahead and work on this. Okay, next week, Tony and Tina's wedding. Coming up next, the White Picket Fence Real Estate Hour with John White. I'm Bill Parkinson.
I'm Elise Enlow.
And don't forget, it's not your mother's wedding. Hey, Feliz Cinco de Mayo, everybody. Enjoy. Bye-bye.